Okay, so we're looking at cost estimation using the high-low method. All right. The overall purpose of this is because we want to form a cost function. This cost function is going to help us predict future costs. All right. Yes. So let's look at this information here. It says electricity cost for the first 6 months of the year are as follows. All right. You've got the months here, the production in units, and the cost. Now, the thing here is this: we do not know what our fixed costs are, and we don't know what our variable costs are. Okay, so with the high low method, we'll be able to form an expression where we can get our fixed costs and our variable costs, and then those two together are going to form what cost function. Okay, so these are the steps in how to do it. Yes, so the question says calculate the fixed and variable costs using the high-low method. And then part two, estimate the total cost when 500 units are produced. Uh-huh. Someone has raised their hand. Why does that matter? Okay. Yes, sir, it does like this. Yes. So remember, sir, Mr. Ronald, okay, here what we don't know what our fixed costs are and we don't know what our variable costs are, okay? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get those things. Then we form a cost function, okay? Yes. So using the high-low method, these are the steps, colleagues, okay? Step one is to get our variable cost per unit, okay? How you get your variable cost per unit? You use this formula here. Highest cost minus lowest cost divided by highest output minus lowest output. So in this information here, we are going to look for what is your highest cost. We're going to see our highest cost is 2,400. This is the highest cost. What is the lowest cost? We look. The lowest cost is 2,160. Okay. So the highest cost should be attached with the highest output. Okay. Because when you produce more, you're going to incur more costs. Okay. So the highest output, 420 units. The lowest output, 300 units. I hope we're clear on that, colleagues. All right. We're trying to get the variable cost per unit, so we need the highest cost, lowest cost. We need the highest output and the lowest output, which we've got here. Okay. So in our formula here, highest cost 2,400 minus lowest cost 2,160 over highest output 420 minus lowest output 300. Okay. So 2,400 minus 2,160, you get 240. I hope okay, let me zoom in so it's, yes. Then 420 minus 300, you get 120. Okay, so 240 divided by 120, 2 kwacha per unit. Okay, so this is our variable cost. 2 kwacha per unit. Are there any questions? Okay. Next is step two. We need to get our fixed costs. This is where you're going to use either the high. When you say you use the high, it just means use the highest cost and the highest output. Or you can use the low, which is the lowest cost or the lowest output. It's up to you to choose. Okay, colleagues? They will never tell you use the high, use the low. No, it's up to you to choose. Okay. So if we use the high, meaning we're going to use the highest total cost, which was 2,400, and we're going to also use the highest output, which is 420 units. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Okay, if you remember this formula from, I think, in economics, total cost equals fixed cost plus variable costs. Okay, so if you want to get your fixed cost, you make fixed cost the subject of the formula, and then it becomes fixed cost equals total cost minus variable cost. Okay. Yes. Remember, we're using the high, so we're using the highest total cost, which was 2,400. Remember, we got our variable cost. Our variable cost was 2 kwacha per unit. X just represents number of units. Okay, colleagues? X just represents number of units. Okay. So our fixed cost is 2,400 minus 2x. Now, since we said we're using the high, so use the highest total cost and the highest output. So x, we're going to substitute x with the highest output of 420 units. Okay. So you're going to say 2,400 minus 2 times 420 units. 2 times 420, you get 840. 2,400 minus 840, you get 1,560. So this, colleagues, is your fixed cost. Okay, this is the fixed cost. So now with that we have our fixed cost and our variable cost, we can form now our total cost function. Okay, so the total cost function is going to be our fixed cost 1,560 plus our variable cost 2x. Okay, this is our total cost function. Are there any questions? All right, wonderful. Now, as I said earlier, this cost function can help you predict or forecast costs. Okay, so like for example here, part 2 of the question says, estimate the total cost when 500 units are produced. Okay, so we can estimate the cost that we're going to incur when 500 units are produced. Okay, this one will come when we're using linear regression. Okay, remember our total cost function is this one here, 1,560 plus 2x. Okay, so where there's x, you substitute it with 500 units. Okay, so 1,560 plus 2 times 500. 2 times 500 is 1,000. 1,000 plus 1,560 is 2,560. Okay, so if this company produces 500 units, the cost that they estimate to incur is going to be 2,560. Okay, so this cost function, it helps you estimate costs. If I produce 400 units, if I produce 800 units, you can now be able to estimate. Any questions?